Om Namaskar. Good morning, welcome back to inthekhud. This is October 17, 2023. Firstly, I want to discuss how if your Stable Diffusion Deforum video output is lacking that color, it's not looking colorful, even if your coherence setting is at lab, how to fix that. So for that, I'll have to show you the render that I did yesterday. So this is the whole video. So the concept here is very simple. We start the video with throwing some crumpled papers into the dustbin, and then that thing transforms into all of this ecology and birds and ocean and everything like all this beautiful AI stuff which AI has generated. And in the end, you have your call to action, which is even one small step can change the course of nature. And that is the video. Now you saw the final render that I've done. I also want to show the first render that I did, which is where the problem came. So initially what Deforum generated was this for that AI part. And this is also good, like if you look at it from an artistic standpoint, it is very good. But the only problem is it has very less colors to play with. And the reason for that, and I could logically make out why that is happening, is because of the init image. So you see, the init image is the first image that we give to Stable Diffusion, from which point on it uses the prompts and your transform settings and everything in order to create your AI video. So this is the init image that I was giving, and you see, if you were to color pick this image, there are only muted white and brown and black, shades of brown here, which is why your output is coming like this. So what I did is I went into Photoshop, and using generative fill, I changed the init image over here to this. So this is my init image for the second render. And what I did is I kept, because that is a video which is playing in the center, I can change the colors of the paper and everything, but it wasn't really needed. I did a bit of color correction on the video, and in Photoshop I did a marquee of the entire canvas, and I gave it a prompt earth-like gradient colors, so that I had every color, there's blue, light blue, green, brown, everything. And from this kind of a color palette, when this is the init image, the kind of output you get is what our final render looks like. So from here, when we started, we got something like those blue, red, green, those lifelike, earth-like colors are being used in your render. Now I want to quickly actually open Stable Diffusion and run through the settings once, so you can document that as well. I'm going to run the batch file. Okay, so I'm going to come into try one first, wherever my try one was exported, and this is a great way to check your settings and everything. So I come into Deforum try one. There is going to be a settings file which got generated. So right click here and say copy as path, and inside Stable Diffusion you come into Deforum, and here you paste this and say load all settings. Now all the settings that we use for that particular render have been loaded. So 5, 12, 9, 10, 20 steps. Keyframes, I rendered it for 683 frames because that's how long I wanted it to be, 30 seconds approx, at 30 frames per second, and excluding the initial video part. So strength schedule is at 0.65. I just wanted to have a constant zoom in effect, so we just gave a 0.5 to Z, which is constantly going in, no other fancy movements, whatever. The important thing is not noise, coherence. This is what the entire video is about. Color coherence is at lab. What lab does is it takes the colors of the previous image and generates bases that image, which is why your init image is important. And if I come into the init image here, which is going to be over here, the prompts, if you want to see, at 0 we're saying grass growing, green earth foliage, ultra realistic. Ultra realistic is something that I've experimented, that adding it creates more defined images. Flowers blooming, ultra realistic. Fishes swimming, marine life, deep ocean. Just random words at the top of my head to get what I want. Birds flying high up in the sky, ultra realistic. Cattle eating grass on mountain tops, where you're getting those cows. Bees pollinating on flowers. And towards the end, I got a wide shot of rotating earth in the center of the frame, but that didn't quite come, so I used the stock video towards the end anyway. In it, if you see in it, this is what the image was which we were using. And if I paste this here, try 2.1. So again, try 2.1. Why? Because I'm going to go into my settings file here, copy as path, come in here, paste, and load all settings. So here in the second time where I was rendering, everything was same, like more of these things were same, everything was same, except for the init file was changed to init2. One error which came in, so you see why try 1 and try 2, like it did not go for 683 frames. At 276 frames, this just stopped. And the error that Stable Diffusion threw, I've taken a screenshot of that as well, is this. So maximum recursion depth exceeded while calling a Python object. Check your schedules, init values, also make sure you don't have a backslash in your path or whatever. So from what I understand, because we're using RGB values and there's a lot of color values that has to be dealt with, it's almost like when the printer runs out of ink. So this is a common error which has also happened in the past. Now if you've done something like this for 683 frames, you've set it, and at 270 odd frames that this error is coming and your render has stopped, how do you proceed? So the last frame, right, this one, 276, you want to use this as the init for the next trial. And because we're doing a Z constant zoom in 0.5, when you start zooming in from 0.5 or from this frame as your first frame, it will be like you've continued from where you stopped, and you just have to run Stable Diffusion once again. So I will show that as well, post this error which we have as try 2.2. If I take this settings file, and you see that a video will be generated if everything went properly, but 2.1 video did not get generated because there was an error midway. So if I take this settings file, copy as path, and paste it into my Stable Diffusion, load all settings. So you'll see everything here is going to be the same the way it was, except for the keyframes are not going to be 683. We're going to make it 407, and the prompts are going to be such that up until the point that it is done, you're going to start from 0 to 400. So 100, 200, 300, 400 instead of going to 600. That is the way you can continue forward. And init is obviously going to be 00276 PNG because that's where we left from. So that's how you fix these two errors which you are likely to come across inside of Stable Diffusion Deforum. And I've been using Filmic Pro for this video because this gives log footage, and I have no idea like how this is going to turn out, because I have to figure a lot of things. I have to figure multicam edit in DaVinci, and which is like a good segue into what I've been doing in the past 1 week where I haven't been uploading. So primarily this entire weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I spent working on Cutout episode 3, and it is done. I made a very beautiful video out of a cutout, but I could not edit the video and upload it like I wanted to, which is where I want to learn DaVinci Resolve. And from what I have seen in the past few days, the more videos and tutorials I watch on Fusion inside DaVinci, the more it becomes clear to me that DaVinci Resolve can totally replace After Effects for my motion graphic work. And for dynamic edits where you want to use Premiere Pro for the edit and After Effects for your motion graphic stuff or adding that flavor of dynamism to the video, it is an absolute pain, because in the previous video also I mentioned that how Adobe Dynamic Link gets on my nerves, and it's very, very difficult to send clips to After Effects and then come back. It's a pain. It's a real pain. But inside DaVinci, you can just edit it as good. In fact, it's in some ways it's better than Premiere Pro as an editor. But Fusion is being integrated right inside of the DaVinci workspace. You can take a clip, a section you've edited inside DaVinci. You can tag it as a Fusion clip, and then you can bring it inside Fusion and do things. And this is great for like 3D work and stuff, which DaVinci allows. So I don't want to go into that right now because I'm at a very early stage, but in the successive documentations, that is one thing I definitely have to cover documenting. The second thing is, in this video itself, where you saw that in the beginning I used stock video instead of that, I wanted to like make a proper character animation, and I spent a lot of time building up the scene. And there was this character sitting in the middle of the frame, and she would like crumble up the paper and throw in the dustbin, and the camera would then go into the dustbin, and then the AI part would start. But I did not have that much time, and character animation was taking way too long for me to like figure, because I made the rig using Auto Rig Pro and the face rig using Faceit and everything. But if I was to sit and make that into a proper thing, it would take way too long, and this has to go out because it's already been too late. So that is another thing which I have to document. Anyway, that's it for today's documentation session. Thanks so much for being in the code. I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.